The Lord be with you. I've been a Catholic for fewer than 6 months. I was confirmed and received my first communion here at St. Rose on Christ the King Sunday last November. I've been a Christian for more than 67 years, ever since I was baptized on April 11th, 1955 at Zion Lutheran Church in a small town 30 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. 14 years later, I was confirmed at that same church, one that my grandfather helped build and in which my father's initials are still carved high in the rafters. My family attended worship services weekly. I went to Sunday school. We said grace before meals. But apart from that, Jesus wasn't talked about much in our family, and I really didn't have much of a personal relationship with him. As a college student, I re-examined my faith, partly after reading C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity, and partly due to the influence of several Christian friends. I asked God to show me his truth, and shortly thereafter, I answered an altar call at the Southern Baptist Church across from campus. After graduating from medical school, I moved to Minnesota for residency in family medicine at what's now Regents Hospital. During my last year of training, I met a beautiful and smart and articulate young woman, Debbie Musoff, during a Bible study at Roseville Lutheran Church. That's where we were married 3 years later. We then joined St. Timothy Lutheran Church, which is where we raised our 2 children, Michael and Sarah. Both of them as adults continue to attend worship services weekly, and my son married a faithful Catholic woman. It was Michael and his wife, Katie, who introduced me to St. Rose. Over the past several years, I became increasingly disillusioned with the path being taken by my pastor and by other Lutheran church leaders in the Twin Cities. In 2018, seeking some place where I would receive more filling spiritual food, I worshiped at 28 different churches during the year, attending 2 to 3 services each Sunday. I kept feeling God's call to turn to Catholicism, and especially to come here to St. Rose. After counsel from friends and others I trusted, along with much prayer and a little bit of anguish, last summer I emailed Father Paveglio to tell him that I was ready to enter into communion with the Catholic Church. Now, Protestant friends have asked me, why Catholicism? My favorite answer to that question is one I learned from Peter Kreeft, a Catholic philosopher who is also a convert. He said that he found the same Jesus in the Catholic Church as in Protestant denominations, just more of him. 2 weeks ago, Deacon Glenn told the young people that were receiving communion for the first time that the reason we come to Mass is to seek Jesus, to find him, and to be with him. Now, that doesn't mean he is only here. All of us, Protestants and Catholic alike, who are baptized into Christ, are adopted sons and daughters of the Father. Yes, when we get to heaven, we'll meet our Protestant brothers and sisters there. My wife, Debbie, is one of the strongest and most faithful Christians I know. She strengthens me when my own faith falters. And she often attends Mass with me. She was here yesterday, but she's still a member of the Lutheran Church. As Catholics, we know that Jesus pours his grace into us through our sacraments, but God is not limited by his sacraments. There's another place where I found Christ more fully since I came to the Catholic Church, in myself and in ways that I've grown. My wife, Debbie, tells me that I've become more helpful and patient. Last summer, she told me, I think I like this Catholic thing. I used to turn away from the homeless on the street. Now I give freely. I ask their name and I tell them mine. God's given me more patience, and I find myself getting less frustrated with things that used to make me angry, like this past March when our internet service in our home went out for more than 2 weeks. And I especially find Jesus in the Eucharist. For me, The true presence of our Lord in the consecrated bread and wine is what most clearly sets the Catholic Church apart from other Christian denominations. The Catechism of the Catholic Church calls the Eucharist the source and summit of Christian life. Now, during the pandemic, I attended a lot of meetings virtually by Zoom and by Microsoft Teams, and we got work done. But it wasn't nearly as efficient or as satisfying as being in the same room with my colleagues. We know that Jesus is always with us. He told us so in the 28th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. But having him physically present in the same room, having the Lord of the universe, through whom everything was created, with me, right here, means more to me than I ever would have expected. Being invited to join with him in his sacrifice every Mass and taking him into my own body can sometimes feel overwhelming. Here at St. Rose, we're blessed to have the opportunity to sit with our Lord in the Adoration Chapel. Praying with him and spending time with him there has been a tremendous benefit and consolation to me the past few years as I've gone through the process of discernment in deciding to join the Catholic Church. Now, if you haven't visited the Adoration Chapel, I encourage you to do so. Next weekend, there will be an open house there, which is a great opportunity for you to go see what it's all about. Consider signing up for an hour a week where you can spend time with Jesus, sharing with him whatever it is that you'd like to share. Thank you for listening to my story this morning. And thank you for welcoming me so warmly into this congregation. I truly do feel a part of this church family. May God bless you and those you love richly with his joy and peace.